eyes if they view it as so worthless?
It's just another lie. They're duplicitous people. They're evil. They're corrupt. Gold is the only currency in the world. It's as simple as that, and they all know that. That's for public consumption, you know. Gold isn't worth anything. You know, to show you how corrupt it is, AIG is bankrupt. It has been used since the Second World War as a money laundering operation and a CIA front for covert operations. They're already into the U.S. government for $100 billion. It'll be $1 trillion by the time they finish because they're loaded with derivatives. The crook who ran the company should be in jail for the rest of his natural life, Maurice Greenberg. And every week CNBC has him on. He's on right now. This guy is a scumbag. Just like all of those other Team A and Team B in Washington and the people in the White House and in Congress. And unfortunately, most of the people on Wall Street and the banking business and the insurance business, it's just a giant scam. And it just burns me up to see these criminals being put on television telling people how it wasn't their fault. I mean, it is the American people have stood still long enough. They've got to act, and what will force them to act is a terrible economic situation that we're entering into. Go ahead.
Here's a question from Darren. Understand the arguments of potential for the dollar to devalue. What would happen with mortgage debt for a homeowner under an extreme circumstance where the dollar collapses and the U.S. created a new currency, whether it be something like the Amero or whatever? Is there any benefit to an individual by having a mortgage versus not if this occurred?
Well, it would be prorated. If you have a devaluation where you give 10 old ones for one new one, you lose 90% of the value. So the loaf of bread that cost $2.50 would be 25 cents, and the mortgage, which was $100,000, would be $10,000. But it really wouldn't work out exactly that way because it never comes straight up, and so your mortgage would probably be $15,000 or $18,000, not $10,000, because of the immediate devaluation of the new money, unless it's backed by gold, and then how much gold? That's why I'm very concerned that, number one, the government doesn't have any money, any gold, and number two, that they'll go after the GLD ETF to get their money, the real money, gold. And they've got almost 800 tons right now, and if you take all of the World Gold Council ETAs, it's about 950 tons. It's in today's issues, the exact numbers. And I think that the government would glom onto that, give them dollars, and then take that to back their currency, and that's where I think we're headed. And all of you people who think we're going to get in the Amero are wrong. I don't believe it. I think they're going to not go to another currency immediately, and in spite of the propaganda that's pouring out of Washington right now that doesn't say it's for the North American Union, but in reality it is. They're going to have a major fight in Canada over it, and when the Mexicans find out, they'll go ballistic, absolutely ballistic. And in fact, if it comes out in the next 4 years, AMLO is a shoo-in to run Mexico. And so that's something Mr. Calderon will be thinking about, because he just lost the drug war because he had to make a deal with the people who run the drug cartels. And the deal is complete. And it's done. And you're not going to read about it in the newspapers, but it's done.
Is there a possibility, I mean, I'm not talking about a currency between Canada and Mexico, but what about currencies merging? I mean, you have like the EU, we have the basket of currencies, but could you see like the euro and the dollar merge?
Never. And the reason why is I think the Eurozone's going to break up. England's already bankrupt. Europe isn't bankrupt. They're in depression, just like we are and England is. But the problem is it's lopsided. One interest rate can't fit all, and it's turned out to be a disaster in that respect. And Italy, Spain, Portugal, and then all those little countries, Slovenia and places like that, they shouldn't be in the EU, in the Eurozone. It just should have been Germany, Belgium, Holland, and France, and that's it. Because the other nations aren't strong enough. And the Germans are tired of having their balance of payment surplus there to carry everybody else. 72% of Germans want the Deutschmark back, and they're going to get it back. So that's why there will be no merger between those two currencies.
Jimmy Rogers says that in 15 years the renminbi will be the world currency.
If they don't all kill each other. I mean, they got serious problems in China. Stock market's down 76%. The banks are offside $1.3 trillion. They're sitting on $1.3 trillion of $1.8 trillion in foreign reserves in U.S. dollars that are probably worth 20 cents on the dollar. And they've got unemployment that's rising. The GDP has just dropped below 8%, and the GDP growth this year, the estimates will be between 5.2 and 7.2% increase in GDP. Anything under 8%, you get civil war. China is no place to invest. I disagree with Jimmy on that.
And he says
Jimmy might not be here 15 years from now, because he's my age.
But I'll guarantee he's heavily invested in China, though.
And he's lost a lot of money.
Yeah. Yes, and he's just
he was right in commodities, and I think he's going to continue to be right. And he knows them upside down. And but this geopolitical thing, China's got problems. Even now, Russia's got problems. Anybody who produces oil, I mean, oil's what, $42 a barrel? I mean, they need $70, $80 to come out even now. And they know that the price of oil is being manipulated down by the bankers. And they're not happy about it. And that's going to add fuel to the fire to world revolution.
And the last question, we got just a minute or so. What will happen to the Social Security totalization agreement with Mexico now that we have a new government?
It'll be the same. Nothing will change. And they'll do what they want to do. And once the economy breaks down, all of that will go out the window. People receiving Social Security, they get $1,500 a month, will probably end up getting maybe $300 a month. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be, so get used to it. But then again, that loaf of bread for $2.50 today is going to be 25 cents. It's not going to be good, but it's not going to be that bad as long as they pay you.
And real quick, what do you think of the Central Fund of Canada?
Excellent. I don't prefer it because I like delivery of gold and silver coins. I like the gold and silver stocks because of their leverage. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Central Fund of Canada, but you are going to pay a premium.
All right. And we had two questions coming in about moving your gold and silver coins out of the country and so forth. And I do have some information someone sent me, and I'll make a note of it here to go over that perhaps on Friday's program.
Yeah, do it country by country. I hope he sent it, because every country has different rules, you know.
He did a fairly thorough search for his...
Can you email that to me, please?
Yes.
Because I get that question all the time, and I just don't have time to do the research. Like the question earlier today about the insurance companies. I mean, gee, there's only one of me and one Judy, and that's the end of it. I mean, we do all this work ourselves.
I understand. And
so any help you can give us, do it, because we put it in the publication.
Yeah.
We talk about it on all these programs I'm on, and we're helping people.
Right.
So any great ideas you got, we want them.